So back to the topic of what is rare. You're looking at a German-American Bund event pin from a convention of leaders in Chicago, 1941. This is rare on so many levels for so many different reasons. First off, the German-American Bund was the version of Nazi supporters in America. These were ethnic Germans, German Americans, even World War I veterans who had emigrated to America, who wanted to kind of voice support for their German ancestry and support the modern political movement in Germany. It started in the 1920s and coincided with the rise of the NSDAP. This isn't something that waited to 1933. The groundwork was already laid in the 1920s. The German-American Bund had its own youth organizations, its own female organizations, its own units, groups, and even its own versions of the SS who would support and act as defenders in their public rallies that were often subject to attacks by anti-German groups. The history of the German-American Bund is something that can be discussed at lengths. The insignia is very rare in the sense that the FBI raided all these camps and meeting places, headquarters, both before and after Pearl Harbor. But the group was ordered disbanded as the U.S. entered World War II. Obviously, you didn't want to have a pro-Nazi group with thousands of members throughout the country, with possible direct influence from the Nazis when during a time of war. So they were ordered to be disbanded, and much of things like this were collected and destroyed by the FBI. So to have insignia survive is rare, but they had all sorts of things: flags, uniforms, collar tabs, medal insignia, and the like. They were much different than the German Nazis. You can tell just by seeing pictures how their uniforms were different. They certainly weren't as tidy looking, and the construction wasn't as good as the Germans, but this is an example of a nice piece where there was multiple piece construction. It's got the symbol. This is the logo for the German-American Bund, this kind of shield looking with the national colors and enamel in the background. There's a separate piece with this swastika kind of rising up from this AV, or American bulk, on the bottom. So just a look at that. And you would get this pin if you attended a meeting of leaders. It was the last major convention before Pearl Harbor, just a couple months, so that making this even more rare. One of the ways you can tell this is not a German-made pin is the construction on the back. It's plain to see this is not something that was produced in the Third Reich period. There's a date on the back and initials as well. For some reason it says 1943. So perhaps there's actually two sets of initials, so perhaps one was the initial owner and the other one was someone who got it as a souvenir, maybe someone related to someone who confiscated it and gave it to them. I can't be sure, although the style of writing of the date is very similar to that of the Germans during the time, so very interesting. I only know of one other one of these in existence, which would qualify this certainly as a rare item, but just a shot there of how it's multiple piece. Although notice it wasn't fixed to the back by use of a rivet or something. So this is probably glued. So a German-American Bund enamel pin, extremely rare. Not many types of pins that you could possibly connect from this group. Pieces, tiny pieces like this, are over $1,000, $2,000. They're that rare. So I want to give you guys a glimpse at a rare piece and tell you about an organization you might not have known about, the German-American Bund. This was probably made in Chicago, and the different construction is evident. Hope you enjoyed it.